Now, we weren't only excited about seeing Arch Manning and Julian Sain, right? There were a lot of new faces in a lot of new places. Quarterback debuts, teams trying to show us like who they're going to be this year. Where do you want to start here for first impressions?
We are in the middle of Michigan hosting New Mexico.
Yes, we are.
And I think from the very beginning of that game, Bryce Underwood looked more veteran than a true freshman.
Michigan just scored again.
Well, of course
they
did.
We're in the third quarter.
Defensive score, by the way. But that's where I would start. I think Bryce Underwood is a guy who, much like Arch, there's like this anticipation, there's this hype, and of course the matchup's better for him, but he looked like a guy who was ready for the moment, very poised. You could see all of the talent, the arm strength, and it really opened up Michigan's offense to be able to do things that they couldn't imagine doing a year ago.
I mean, they would never have the space to do it.
No.
I mean, we saw him complete a pass in the first half of their first game that was further than any completed pass all of last season.
That's an insane stat.
That team beat your Ohio State Buckeyes last year.
I don't know why you have to bring up old
I'm
stuff.
just saying, like, they could not throw the ball. They were super one-dimensional. And now you have this opening up some things. We're talking about also you're going to see, like, some ripple effects of this because if you're a receiver in the portal next spring or a high school recruit,
100%.
don't you want to catch passes from him? Like, it looked fun. It looked easy. Like, there was good zip on the ball. The placement, everything looked like it was ready.
Well, and to that point, like, Samaj Morgan had some plays, right? They're able to utilize him differently now. Donovan McCulley is a guy who they were excited about. He's gotten some good targets, and maybe he can progress into being a legit wide receiver one. Then Marlon Klein, right? Like, who's going to replace Colston Loveland? Well, he's going to be that replacement. He's also got a quarterback who's gifted enough to deliver him the football. So for me, there is this, not only is Bryce Underwood as advertised as a recruit, the offense with Chip Lindsey now as the OC is so much, it's more diverse, right? They've done the RPOs, they've rolled the pocket, haven't showed a ton of quarterback run, probably don't need it in a game like this. They've gotten the ball on the edge quick. Like, everything you'd want to do, they can do now.
Yeah, and he's athletic, right? Like, I mean, we're not worried about the quarterback run game and all the different things that he can do.
He even threw a block, by the way.
Oh, the block was actually, I mean, like, we got really excited about that because it was early in the game, and it just says something about your quarterback.
If you get sat down like that by a quarterback, you need to retire from football as a defensive football player.
That's so mean. New Mexico has all these new players. They need them.
You need to retire from football as a defensive football player.
All right, let's talk about some of these other quarterbacks. Joey Aguilar, big debut for Tennessee. 16 of 28 for 247 yards, 3 touchdowns. Really, like, the Vols couldn't do much wrong. They ran at will, over 6 yards per carry. But that was a pretty impressive win over Syracuse to open the season. And we've all been wondering, like, okay, who won the trade, right? Nico Iamaleava, UCLA. Like, we're going to be comparing their stats pretty much all year. But I thought that was a really strong opening message from Joey.
Well, and I'll say this, too, about Josh Heupel and what he did. We just talked about some of the quarterbacks who maybe they pared down the playbook. They weren't as aggressive. Heupel was like, I'm running my damn offense. I really don't care. Yeah. And, of course, Aguilar's played, right? But, like, we're going to throw it early. We're going to get the ball going around. It's going to open up our run game, and we're going to have everything at our disposal. So I really like seeing that approach to it, but this is what you get when you have a veteran guy that comes in. He played with a ton of confidence. I was impressed by his performance.
Yeah, I was also disappointed in Syracuse. I think I expected a little bit better of a showing. They never pulled fully back into the game to make it a game.
I mean, they kept fighting, but they just got down by too much.
Yeah, and then Tennessee had speed too. They were just getting
fast.
They're really fast.
They're a fast team.
All right, let's talk about Gunnar Stockton.
Sure.
So let's stay in the SEC. Now, Georgia didn't have a high-profile opening game, but we were curious to see really like what this version of Georgia is.
Yes, and Georgia last year, their biggest issue was that they didn't run the ball like you would expect a Kirby Smart Georgia team.
And they also dropped a lot of passes.
Wow, I mean,
but they definitely didn't bulldoze you.
But if you can't catch the damn ball, you got to be able to run it. So they didn't do that well. Well, Gunnar Stockton comes in here. He has 10 carries for 73 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. So I think they needed that. And I think it's good for us to see that they now have maybe a page that they can turn to when they can't just drop back, or maybe the running backs aren't as productive. You got a quarterback who can get it done with his legs.
Let's talk about another quarterback in the SEC who is getting it done with his legs. Jackson Arnold goes from Oklahoma to Auburn, and he had some big plays against Baylor. Like, that was a really interesting Friday night, week 1 game, and he had 137 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. They win by 2 touchdowns. I kind of had that game spotlighted because it felt like the losing coach would be a candidate to lose their job in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
But I thought that was another one where you're like, okay, this is someone who didn't work at their last place, but look at what this made them very hard to defend, this running capability. He had speed too.
Were you surprised that he performed that way?
Yes.
I was too. I was very shocked.
We didn't really see that or close to that.
We didn't see that type of confidence either.
Well, that was
he played very
and
confidently.
Hugh Freeze also was like, I might play 3 quarterbacks.
Which is so crazy. Also, 3 play callers was
and 3 play
insane.
callers.
I know
who gets credit for this? I think Jackson Arnold.
Well, I think what they did was they assigned a play caller to each quarterback. There were 3 quarterbacks and 3 play callers. So the Jackson Arnold play caller got the credit.
Well, he gets
which is Hugh Freeze, of course.
Okay, of course. Yes, of course.
But all that to say, this changes the dynamic too, right? Like if he can change the game with his legs, play with that type of confidence, now we're looking at Auburn as a dangerous team where a lot of us thought they might be dead in the water.